Hello, my name is Kayla Jefferson and I am studying to be a teacher at Delaware State University, and I just wanted to do this YouTube video to describe bilingual education and how I, as a teacher, will be teaching. So this video is geared towards the parents that I will be teaching. So bilingual education is a classroom setting that the students are half in one language and half normally in their home language and half in a new language or a second language. So this type of classroom definitely is geared toward mainly what the community's home language would be. So some classrooms could be half Spanish, half English, or some classrooms could be half Chinese, half English. It definitely is a full immersion classroom, so whatever language they are learning, they are fully submerged into. Some school districts in our area definitely have this in Delaware. So I just want to describe what bilingual education is. So compared to a regular curriculum classroom, it builds social, cultural competence, integrative and interdisciplinary learning, alignment through subjects and grade levels within a program, and they need to develop literacy levels and academic vocabulary in 2 languages, both bilingual. So in focusing on standards in the classroom, one factor to keep in mind is that standards are set by districts and states are generally designed with monolingual native English speakers. So that's like your general classroom, it's English only. So therefore, like as bilingual education teachers, we have to adapt our classroom to fit the needs of our students and develop our curriculum and standards to meet the needs of the bilingual education standards, so they are learning at the correct pace and word association. Creating benchmarks and assignments help to know what students are learning at that specific time. In a bilingual classroom, there is a need to address literacy development, such as phonemic and phonic awareness, decoding and encoding, in a partner language in a way that is specifically addresses the literacy skills needed to read, write in that language, rather than simply monitoring the teaching of English literacy. So we have to, if this English is their second language, we have to make sure they're listening, speaking, writing, all in the secondary language. So for us, it may seem simple, but can they hear it? Do they understand it? This is definitely something I've worked on before with students with special needs. So having a letter, do they know what the letter says? Do they know what it looks like? Do they know what, for autistic children, do they know what it feels like? So that is definitely the same in a bilingual classroom, making sure the students can hear, understand, decoding, encoding. So definitely, like, pedagogies are hugely important in a bilingual classroom. So the monolingual context, academic vocabularies are in 2 languages. So the courses are math, science will be instructed to the language learning. So as I said before, the submersion of the second language or the first language, it will be in the context of the classroom. So math, science will be in one language, or reading, social studies, they will be in a second language. So local bilingual programs in Delaware. I did a lot of research on the Christina School District. This is where I am fond of, and I hope that I get a job there. So I was looking at the Dallas Elementary School. So they also have the 50-50 immersion program. Children must be 5 years of age before entering the school. However, they are school choiced, so the parents, you guys have to fill out a information sheet and get put into a lottery, and the child will be selected in that lottery. This elementary program is where the students learn academic content through a second language. They learn second language by entering and using the language in meaningful context. As I said earlier before, They learn math, science, social studies, English. They learn everything in that type of classroom. So half is one, half is the other. Students instruction. So for this specific program, that English, so math is taught in Mandarin, and students spend half the day in English immersion and half the day in Chinese, so 50-50 of the concept, including the textbook. So this was also included in our textbook that we had to learn for our class. So classes will have 2 teachers, one for each language, and will coexist with traditional teaching. So I would be one of those teachers in that classroom. Students will be able to continue their immersion experience through elementary school into middle school. So some of the type of strategies I would use in my classroom, because I am speaking to the parents that are going to send their children to be in one of my classrooms. Scaffolding is one of my main strategies as a bilingual education teacher because it supports learning language output. Support and scaffolding is that the teacher structures tiers of support and models, design behavior and strategies needed to engage the problem-solving activities. Students practice these behaviors and strategies with teacher support and then begin practicing and applying the behaviors and strategies on their own. And this comes from many different evidence and articles that I've read that scaffolding is the best way to teach bilinguals because you get that little one-on-one with the teacher, but then you also allow them to be free and do it on their own. So you can see if they're actually concepting the idea or grasping the idea that you're giving to them. So in this specific scaffolding would be used to teach English or Spanish. Just an example, in this article that I had found, Latino English were unsure of English words, so they were looking for cognates that looked like English words but also looked like Spanish words. So that helped the Spanish-speaking students to get familiar with English words because they also look like words that they already knew. So I know most of the cognates, they don't have an exact definition as the same as the English to Spanish words, but just getting familiar with the words that are in English rather than Spanish help them to gain context clues of what the word might be. Another important strategy is that the students are mastering that language. Students learn the language in the bilingual classroom. When learning in a bilingual setting, the students need to be put in the culture and atmosphere of the language. A strategy that teachers should enforce, as myself, in the language classroom is keeping the language linear. So this is keeping that language during that time. So even if a student was, like, they want to answer a question in English rather than Spanish because they don't know that word in Spanish, you want to have them try. Like, let's work around it. What words do you know? And what words, like, can we get there in that answer rather than just automatically going to the English? So it's definitely an important strategy to start with rules in the beginning of the classroom, as I will set up rules that say, like, no English during this time, like maybe have a sticker, put the sticker up, no English during this time, this is only Spanish, or this is only that certain language that we're speaking. So it's very good to adapt the culture of the classroom also. One of the biggest strategies for first and second language learner is getting them to be comfortable where they are. A teacher, as myself, needs to create a positive and accepting learning environment for the students to feel comfortable and learn efficiently. A teacher adapting students' cultures in the classroom are one way to create a accepting learning environment. Adapting culture also helps the parents to bond better with the classroom. As I know from personal experience, getting that one-on-one with parents as yourselves, that is also how you get a good classroom environment. So I want that connection that is parent and teacher. So I know one of the things that I have looked at doing in my own classroom is creating food days. So I look at all the culture of all the students in my classroom and maybe do a food day that shows each ethnicity and who doesn't love food. And also looking at allergies, of course, or do like music day or art day, like that we focus on the culture of the classroom. And that brings me to like what my culture is. I am a Dutch citizen, so I want my students to understand that where I come from. And where I come from is this beautiful country of Amsterdam in Holland. It's called the Netherlands. So I wanted to bring my culture into the classroom also, which some students may not even know where it is. So getting them to know what Dutch shoes are, or why the color orange is so prominent, and why soccer is so much fun, or football. And just so my students could have a one-on-one with me so they understand where I'm coming from. So if one of my students are from Colombia or the Philippines or wherever they're from, they can tell me where they're from and what they like, or what kind of things they ate where they were from. So then we can adapt the classroom to make them feel more comfortable. I know I would definitely have this tapestry hanging in my classroom so they can understand that in my culture, we ride boats everywhere, and we ride bikes. We walk. It's not like America where we drive our car and to go a mile. We bike and ride, and it's a lot more safer environment and healthier. So I want my students to understand that that's the kind of culture that I come from. So in conclusion, I hope that this was an educational video on what type of classroom I will have in my bilingual education classroom. My mindset is that I will be in any type of classroom, but I hoped that I will be able to move back to the Netherlands and be in a Dutch immersion classroom where English is their second language and I can teach them English. But if not, I'm here for all, and I can't wait to teach students.